Growing weary of running from room to room, practicing one-tooth insurance-driven dentistry? Then stay tuned for the latest episode of The Lionhearted, where Dr. Stephen Rasner will hand you the blueprint for what many call the gold standard of general practice dentistry.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Steve Rasner here with the Lionhearted Dental Podcast. Welcome back. Got a lot to talk about today. I know some of you right now are on your way to work on Monday morning. Talking to you, Gabe. Some of you are, at the gym, wherever you're at. Please know how much I appreciate being able to do this with you. That it never ceases to amaze me when I run into a colleague and he literally quotes something I said. Apologize for last week. I watched a little bit of it, which I rarely do. And I seem to be lacking something called energy. So I'm here alone right now in my kitchen doing this. So sometimes, if you have a co-director saying, he'll tell you, I've done many videos in my career, and he'll tell you to pick it up, but I didn't realize. Anyway, I appreciate everything. Lots to talk about. The main theme tonight is there's only 4 weeks left, man. We got to talk. We got to talk about what you're going to do with the rest of the year. We got to talk about very specific goals and goal setting. I want to talk about community, how you can become a vivid part of your own community. And exactly how I did that over the years and how you can do it. And you should do it. But first, I want to talk real quick. I'm not even telling you this because I'm trying to get you to sign up for a course. Because my live courses, which I give 4 times a year, have been sold out ever since I held them. And we just did one last week with implants. And I just want to shout out to some of the guys and instructors that were there. Coop, Dr. Coop from, his name's Cooper actually, he's from Montana. Anthony, Brian, Izzy, good to have you back, buddy. The Lopresti brothers, Dave, my man Joe. I had a guy come up that's been practicing longer than myself from Arkansas. Talking to you, Joe. Really, really cool guy. And can you imagine? I mean, I didn't ask him how old he was, but he's been practicing, I think, for 45 years. He listens to our podcast. He wrote to me and asked me if I thought he was too old to participate. And he meant it sincerely. I've had that question before. And, most guys that listen to our podcast love dentistry. Thank God we do. Thank God there's us. Because from what I see with my own eyes, it seems like a lot of our colleagues are less than enamored with the choice of dentistry. I'm sorry, it's just what my eyes see. And a lot of them are burned out, and I can relate to it. Every one of us can relate to that, right? What we do is hard, man. And it's easy to become burned out. So the foundation of why I do these with you is because I've overcome some significant obstacles in my own life and was able to put together this practice that I think if you have some energy and discipline and stick-to-itness, it's pretty easy for you to replicate. Maybe not exactly at the numbers I've shared with you over time, but I've told you also, you don't need to do those numbers. Hell, if I did half of what I do, that's plenty. And you may say, so why do you do what you do? It's there to be had. It's true what you said, just if you ask me that. We have built an organization that has developed a demand for high-end comprehensive care dentistry in an area of the United States where you wouldn't think that would be possible. That's the truth. And yeah, I could say I'm not taking new patients. I could say that. I'm not saying that. I can't imagine saying that. So you could build something like this. Everything I've said to you from day one has been the truth. I don't exaggerate things, and I keep reiterating certain principles with you because they need to be heard over and over again. And one of the principles, of course, is CE. And these fellas, including this guy, I presume, Joe, you're 70. I mean, flew in. It's a double flight. It's not direct. There, bright and early. And showed great surgical skills, by the way. All these docs did. And I hope I didn't miss anybody. Brian. And my instructors, Gabe Ruiz and Giuseppe, who's a periodontist. And we had a new terrific guy named Albert Intercanosia. I mean, it is a well-oiled course. If any of you want to, and you've had significant didactic training, because you can't really just come in and do implants if you haven't had, it wouldn't be responsible of us or of me. But many of you have had significant didactic training. You finished a maxi course. You went through the Mish Institute, but I don't know, you didn't jump right into it and you have the knowledge. This is the bridge for that. I'm shocked I don't have a longer waiting list, to be quite honest with you. It is such an intense course. And, probably should be a third day, but I try to do it so that you guys can take it on a Friday and Saturday and get back to your life on Sunday. I don't know. But thanks to all of you. Dr. Yelda, if you're watching and listening, Dr. Yelda is a new find from the Rasner Institute. I can't say her last name. I'll mess it up. Rasta Neshad. She's from Boston. Just a delightful mentor for many of you young dentists, if you look her up on Instagram. She's kind of becoming associated with the Institute, and she was an attendee at one of my extraction courses. So thank you to all you guys. Now back to my audience here. Thanks again to Ireland. You never stop downloading, neither do you, Germany and Australia. And I got to say that, of course, the rest of the United States and Canada and all the guys, but thanks. Let's get to it. 4 weeks left, man. What are you going to do? Just put it off? You're going to put off changes? Because change doesn't start the day you want to change. It requires energy and preparation and work to enact the change. Listen, I've said this many times. I don't know how to be successful or how to teach you how to be more successful without working harder. Now, working harder, when I say that to you, that doesn't mean seeing more patients. That's not what I'm talking about. But the preparation and the constant need to reinforce to your team and to yourself new principles that you want to become regular parts of your protocols. So here's one thing that's not a little bit profound, but I forgot that I used to do this, and I try to share with you all the things that helped me get here. And one of them is I used to be really big on goal setting. You haven't heard me talk about this in quite a long time. Do you know that less than 3% of the world even has goals? 3%. So 97 out of 100 people walking around never even think about goal setting. I mean, never in your life you didn't want to lose a little weight, go to the gym, eat more healthy, save a little more money, reduce your credit card debt. And only 1% write the goals down. And I'm going to tell you that if you don't write your goals down, it doesn't mean much. So one thing I would do that should be fun for you is go to a bookstore, if they even exist, or go on Amazon and look up books on goal setting. I started to do it right before I came on the air, and I ran out of time. So I will try to revisit that, or write to me, and I'll tell you my best couple books on goal setting. But it's an important function of a successful life. I said a successful life. I didn't say just a bank account. I didn't say even your dental practice. Right now, I'm preparing my goals for 2022. And I'll tell you, I'm looking at them right now. I wrote an article. I don't know if you guys even know this. that was published in Dentistry Today in this past month, October. Not a career-altering article. It's called An Alternative to All on X. But the reason I'm telling you that is I wanted to write an article in 2021, which I did. And that goal was in 2020 at the end of the year, like it is now. And so I want to write another one, and you'll see it. I can almost guarantee you that you'll see an article by me in some journal. And I even have the title of it. It's on my laptop right now. It's called Resolutions to Common Extraction Complications. Resolutions to Common Extraction Complications. I'll probably make the title a little better than that. But it's on my laptop. I have a goal to have a live Lionhearted course. After you heard me refer to this many times in some of my podcasts. And I'm kind of excited about it. I don't know if it'll be an annual thing, but I really want to do it, and I want to do it right. So I'm thinking of locations and who would I have besides me. I would be the main guy, by the way. Sorry, it's my show. It's my podcast. That's the way you run your own podcast if you want to dominate a weekend lecture. But anyway, I would love to bring in, as one of my recent doctors at this past week, and by the way, they were amazingly composed. It's hard to sit down and do surgery in front of other people. In your office, all they know is you. They probably don't know, unless you're stressed out, if you're on not doing a good surgery or not. But when you have multiple doctors peeking their shoulder over you, it's a big deal. And these guys were superb, every single one of them. I was proud. Many of them have been through the Institute before. It's a testimony, because most of these guys are under 40. It's a testimony to a new generation of amazing dentists coming up. I'm proud to be a little bit a part of it. But anyway, that's one of my goals. 2022 article, 2022 live Lionhearted course. I better get that going soon. Getting back to the gym. Seriously. I've been really a little too busy in 2021. But what about you? For one thing, why don't you become a goal setter? Try it. It's not expensive. Write down goals, what I used to do, and the books on Amazon will help you more than I can in this short podcast, but you'll separate them into short month goals. That's the next 6 months. So I had 6-month goals, 1-year goals, 12-month goals, and 3-year goals. I never really went out more than that. I didn't. And the goals were thought out and reasonable levels that I could attain. It's actually a very good habit for you to assimilate. What about one of your goals should be, as we've talked in recent podcasts, about getting a new skill. So I'm not going to spend time on that tonight because I've talked about it, but what's your new skill going to be in 2022? Want to hear something funny? Mine is going to be getting better at endo. I don't want to do molar endo, but I never really took the courses. I just YouTubed, read a lot. I use the Dentsply Tapered Pro, I think it's called. Look, endo's not the focus. And I want to also take courses in pharmacology because I've gotten lax in the last couple of years, and it's hard to be good at everything, is it not? So what's your new skill going to be? What about being on time? Like when you start at 8 o'clock or 9, whenever you guys start, do you really start on 8 or 9? When your next patient is due at 10:45 or 11 o'clock, are you on time? Or are people constantly waiting in your reception? Particularly in hygiene, there should be no one waiting in hygiene. Come into the office, be almost before they can sit down, they're brought back. It's a beautiful thing. How about spending time to be more in touch with what is your billing system and how is it working for you? Think about it for a minute. And we talked about this last podcast. What is your present 60, 90, 120 day status of claims? I don't take insurance, but I did. What is yours? I don't want to get too sidetracked tonight because there's too much to talk about, but I once brought in a forensic accountant. It cost me $5,500. Not because I thought anybody was embezzling from me, which a lot of dentists do that. They get an accountant with forensic skills for that reason. That's not why I did it. I wanted to know the truth from an outside source of how much money was owed to me. Do you know what I found out? This is not my present insurance crew, by the way. I found out that I had $260,000 of delivered services unpaid on the street. And that was only about 9 years ago. That's the truth. And you know what happens when it's on the street that long? We tried. You're not getting most of it back. I think I collected about 40 grand out of the total number I just gave you. So what is your system? And are you aware? See, I get why. Because if you're a really good clinical dentist, you're busy. And if you're busy, like I am, here's my deal. When I walk back, I check in at 9 o'clock. I mean, 8:45. When I walk back to the clinic part of my office, it's over. The next thing I know is I come back maybe once or twice for a couple minutes, and it's 5 o'clock or 4, whatever it is. And I don't want to be messing around with going into my insurance department for half an hour. So you have to carve out time and to develop systems that are easy and accountable. Your insurance department has to be accountable. I got another one for you. Why don't you put your goal down? So far I'm talking about a new skill. Well, first of all, I'm talking about becoming a goal setter. Then a new skill. You should acquire a new or expanded skill every single year. And you know the number one return on investment that will do that for you, and that would be enteral sedation permit. Whatever your state, whatever your country demands from you, that would be my number one. What about being on time? How about eliminating that toxic office person? You have the guts to do that this year, 2022? I'm not even going to ask you to do it in the last 4 weeks of 2021. You all know who I'm talking about. You got somebody in your office that doesn't participate in anything. They're probably not going to come to your Christmas party this year because they never do. They're hot and cold. They don't like change. By the way, they're probably really good at what they do. But you see them and they physiologically can change your heart rate, your blood pressure, your mood, just because you know who they are. I think you should get rid of them. Either get rid of them or give them one more chance in a heart-to-heart. But if it's a person that I'm thinking about, and many of you know what I'm talking about, you've already given them a chance. That's a 2022 goal. So how about this one? On the same token, surround yourself with positive people, man, in your whole life. Start deleting your social media people that just give you a bad vibe, whether you know them or not. Delete them. They make you feel worse about you. Delete. What about your 2022 community participation? And we talked about this, and I keep saying I'm going to tell you how to do that. So let me spend the rest of right now telling you how to get into that. First of all, being part of your community with a project starts with a office meeting. I don't know that you need your whole office, but you need your key players. If you have an office of 4, or probably less than, a dozen, and I guess you could have them all. And you discuss various projects that would because these projects take 3 to 4 months to pull off. You follow me? So if you meet in December or January, I would be so touched if one of you tells me in the next 6 months or year that you heard this podcast and I put it in your head and you did what I said and then you benefited from it. You benefited from it in your soul, in your heart, because that's where you get the return on these. I don't know if it gives you a return on new patients. And quite honestly, I don't care. But that's something you should become a part of every year. We used to do it twice a year. So ideas for you, and covered these before, but you can reach out to me. But the ideas to think about, easy ones would include skating in the community to raise something. So you invite 100 patients, if you have that, with children for a slice of pizza and 2 hour skate, or an hour skate's fine, hour and a half, 90 minutes is fine. You rent out a skating rink. And the cost to get in is Toys for Tots, Codes for Kids, whatever you want it to be. I just think you need to go down this road. We raised money and we had dinners for domestic violence mothers. That is a huge one. In fact, that is one of my 2022 goals. And when I say, as I have tonight on the podcast, these goals are going to get done. And think of it that way. That's why you enlist your staff, by the way. Often these ideas came from my team, not from me. An after-school tutoring program for single mothers that couldn't afford it for their kids, right? That's not profound. All of us have children that need tutoring, and not all of us can afford it. Often, by the way, these projects are affiliated with a church or a synagogue or something like that. And yeah, they're investment. You know, they range. I told you I had a senior appreciation dinner. By the way, when I had that dinner, the age was 65 and older, which is younger than me. No, that's a little crazy. And it, to this day, and I did that several times, but the last one was well over, it was 15 years ago. I remember virtually every minute of it right now as I'm talking to you. And I bet my team remembers it. And certainly the patients remembered it. Had dinner, dancing, a live band. I live in a rural community. It was a big deal. I rented out I don't know what you call it, a hall. I would not call it fancy, but it was well done. And I owe all that to the team that put it together. Like, you're not doing this alone, guys. And we give scholarships. They're not much. They're $250 to 2 or 3 for school supplies, different schools. The Most Improved Student of the Year award. There's many ways to facilitate community. Rented a park out and invited 100, maybe 75 members of the mentally challenged community with their helpers and their teachers, and had zoo animals and clowns and people that painted on them, and food, of course. And, you know, that was a big deal. I did a prom in 2019. It's the last thing we did for mentally challenged adults. So there's a lot of things you can do. I would do it even if you could just barely afford it. I didn't say if you can't pay your payroll. These things come with success, these ideas, these projects. But I am not saying you have to wait to have a 6-digit bank account to pull some of this off. It is more rewarding than anything else you're ever going to do professionally. Some of your other goals for 2022 are family goals. Don't forget, some guys do, and that's not a Lionhearted principle. Some guys, when I say guys, you know what I mean. Doctors, women, men, they forget the people in their lives that support them, and you don't want that to be. So you have to treatment plan that as well. Vacations, time off, time to coach your kids' games, right? You can't do all that And a lot of times you miss it because you didn't plan it. You're planning your education and all these things I'm pushing on you. I get it. It's a lot to do. I understand it. But you only get one crack at being a mom and dad or a husband and wife. And you don't want to be successful and divorced. Or you certainly don't want to be successful and wish you could rerun being a parent. You don't want to do that. So, listen, we got a couple weeks left of 2021. Please keep writing to me. I tell you, tomorrow I have dedicated 2 or 3, maybe an hour or 2 or 3 calls to those of you that have reached out to me. And we can do this, guys. This is not a unique Steve Rasner thing. All this stuff you hear about. Remember, don't forget, this worked for me in a very rural, economically challenged portion of the world, of the United States. That's where I practice. And you can do this. You can replicate this anywhere. You need to believe that. But it starts with goal setting. It starts with hard work. I mean, when I say hard work, again, I mean preparation, planning. It's all worth it, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Lionhearted one more time. Remember, I'm going to come out with some information pretty soon on our live Lionhearted weekend. And I want some of my European colleagues to come too. Even the 2 guys from Russia that keep downloading my stuff. I'm being funny. I wish you would turn me on to your friends. Anyway, thanks, guys. And thanks again to all my docs. I couldn't be prouder to be part of your journey that came last weekend. And my doctors that helped me each week, each course. See you next week on The Lionhearted.